Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome into a new math lesson, fractions. We already took fractions in grade 3 and now we are going to continue inshallah. So look here over these pictures. We have here some shapes and it's cutted, right? We have some colored parts of the total parts. These are fractions. So what the meaning of fractions? Fractions are the parts of a whole, And these parts must be what? Must be equal. Why? Because actually fractions, the main operation of it is divide, and the divide must be in equal way. So these parts must be cut in equal way. Look here, I have one whole, and I cut it here into 4. I took 3. So when I want to write a fraction, I'm going to write the number of the whole parts down and the number of the parts that I select up. Okay? And the total parts down, that in one whole. So we're gonna say here, what is the fraction do I have here? I have the total part is 4 and the selected part that I take and I colored is 3. So I can say that I have 3 over 4. The number I write it up, which means the parts I select, I call it numerator or numerator. Okay, and the number that I write it down, I call it denominator. So we have numerator and the denominator. Numerator is the parts that we select, and denominator is the total parts in one whole. Okay, look here. If we have this pizza and we cut it into 2 equal parts and we took one part, so we took 1 over 2. So this fraction I call it half. What if I cut it into 3 and I took one part? So it's 1 over 3, so I call it third. And if I cut it into 4 and I took one part of 4, so I call it, here I have it 1 over 4, I call it fourth or quarter. Now here I'm taking one part of 5, so it's 1 over 5, so I call it fifth. And here we have one part of 6 parts, so I call it what? I call it 1 over 6, so I call it sixth. And I have here one part of the 7 parts, so I write it as 1 over 7 and I call it seventh. Here I have one part of 8 parts, so I write it as 1 over 8 and I call it eighth. So look here, I took only one part of all of these fractions. So when you take only one part, you have numerator 1. So I call this unit fraction. So what the meaning of unit fraction? Unit fraction means that you have numerator 1. What the meaning of numerator 1? That you took only one part. Okay, look here. I have 1 over 4, 1 over 4, 1 over 4, and 1 over 4. I want to compose them. I have here 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4, and this part is also 1 over 4, and this part also is 1 over 4. So all of them are 4 over 4. Here I have half plus half. So this part is a half, and this part is a half. When I add them, I will have 2 over 2. Okay, let's decompose by using unit fraction. We said before what the meaning of unit fraction. It's a fraction that has numerator 1. Okay, let's take a look here. I have this fraction is 2 over 3. So that's 2/3. Because we said when we have denominator 3, we call it third. So here we have 2/3. 2/3 means how many unit fraction? Look here, I have 1 over 3, and this one is 1 over 3, and this one is 1 over 3. But here I took only 2. So the 2 over 3 equals 1 over 3 plus 1 over 3. And I have 3 colored part over 5. So I'm going to write 3 over 5. So that's 3/5. How can I decompose it by using unit fraction? Unit fraction means what? Each part of this it has 1 over 5, 1 over 5, 1 over 5, 1 over 5, 1 over 5. I will take 3 of them, so it will be 1 over 5 plus 1 over 5 plus 1 over 5. So together they will give me the 3/5. Okay, let's practice. How many unit fraction do we have in 5/8? How can I write 5/8? It's 5 over 8, right? When I want to use the unit fraction, we're gonna use the numerator 1. So that will be 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8. Let's count here. We have how many unit fraction? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like the numerator here. When the numerator is 5, we have also 5 unit fraction. So he's asking me how many unit fraction do I have? I'm having 5. Okay, now he's telling me, look at the point E. What is the fraction do we have at the point E? We have 5 over 8. He's asking me 5 over 8. It has how many unit fraction? It has 5 unit fractions. So here we have 5 unit fractions. Okay, the next one, he's telling me if I have 5 over 6, I have here the denominator is 6. So I'm going to search for a fraction that has denominator 6. And I have 5 over 6. I can decompose the 5 over 6 as 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 6. So the answer here is gonna be, what is gonna be C. Okay, the next one, sometimes he's asking me to decompose by using many equations, not only by using unit fraction. No, he wants me to write many equations. For example, here I have this fraction. It's gonna be what? 7 over 8. I can write 7 over 8 or decompose 7 over 8, for example, as 2 over 8 plus 5 over 8. Or someone else can decompose it with another way. 3 over 8, for example, plus 4 over 8. Someone else can decompose it also. 1 over 8 plus 6 over 8. Someone else can make it 3 over 8 plus 3 over 8 plus 1 over 8. So when he asked me to make it in many equations or in many ways, I can decompose it with different ways, not only by using the unit fraction. We have a lot of fractions we can use. That's it for today, and thanks a lot for watching.